My name is Yael Tamar, and I'm the founder of two organizations. One is Top of Blockchain, another one is Women in Block. And Women in Block is an association that helps give stage to professional women in the blockchain and crypto industries, and just basically network together, exchange knowledge, exchange opportunities. It's for both women and men. The focus is on the female voice. I'm gonna invite Daphne Sinai to the stage. She founded Women in Bitcoin, and she dedicated a few last years of her life to getting women into Bitcoin and people into Bitcoin and helping them set up their wallets, helping them understand how to do this from A to Z. So I would say the real ambassadorship here starts with just getting people on Bitcoin and on crypto. So thank you for coming. So yeah, you know what? Why don't you share with us? Why don't you give people, before that, how many of you guys hold crypto? Okay, that's quite a lot. I would say that's about 20% of the audience. Oh, yeah, me too. So yeah, how did the rest of us get on it?
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to admit that my worldview is very similar to Sarah. I do believe that in terms of cryptocurrencies and decentralization, then Bitcoin is the number one coin for me at least. Maybe you will choose another one, but because I think it did a really big revolution in all of the monetary system. And like Sarah says, it's a challenge for the bank system, everything that didn't change for decades. And also blockchain. I also have a different view about blockchain because I do believe that it's something that was created to support Bitcoin. A lot of companies now use it, but me personally, I don't understand how, but it can, maybe they could find a solution to work it out. But mostly, I think there is a big difference between the blockchain of Bitcoin and blockchain of smart contracts and platforms like that.
What's the difference?
We'll see. Oh. It's completely different. Mm-hmm. The blockchain, wow, it's could be very long, but just to sum it up, the blockchain that Satoshi Nakamoto was talking about in the white paper, in the Bitcoin white paper, was a way to create a sort of a truth documentation of how you can transfer coins from one side to another instantly, and with people to agree that they're not double-spended, meaning that people won't cheat the system. Okay, he found a way to solve this problem, and this problem is called the blockchain. Why? Because it's a chain of blocks. Each block holds all the transfers that occur in the past average 10 minutes. So that's the first type of blockchain. Then you have Ethereum blockchain, which was the second big blockchain. It's completely different, and it's not used for transferring value or coins. It's used for smart contracts. It's used for dApps, right? Functionality. So basically, for lines of code to transfer and to be committed every time you do something in the system, and you send Ether in order to invoke that. So it's completely different, and it's very fascinating, and I do encourage everybody to learn about the different aspects between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other blockchains, and what's mining, what's a token, which is a non-mineable coin. There is a whole world of that. But answering your question.
Cool, yeah. So how do people on here, if they're not scared too much yet by what they just heard, how do they get started?
Today, luckily, there is so much information out there that you can have. I think the best way to start is finding a community that you like, that is close to your home maybe. Just in Israel, we have a community in here in Tel Aviv, we have one in Jerusalem, we have one in the south, in Beersheba, and you can go to meetups and ask questions. If you don't want to, invest the time alone in your home, you don't have the time to read about it, just go and ask people like, so tell me what it's about, how does it work? It's okay, people will answer you because people like talking about it in this community.
So step number 1, to find a crazy neighbor who holds Bitcoin.
Yes,
Okay.
probably. There's also tons and tons of documentation online. There's websites.
Okay, what is, you have a website.
Right. I also
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, I also built a website because I wanted to make a really nice and not frightening website with a lot of information. I wanted to create something that is nice to just scroll and get the information. So it's just like 8 steps of finding out what is money, what is Bitcoin, what is blockchain. Each one is a chapter, and it's just easy 8 chapters. And I thought that it would help people get started.
What is the website?
It's shecoins.com, but it's obviously for everyone, not just she or he. And it's in Hebrew. I'm sorry. Maybe one day I'll translate it. But it's I think it's easy for people that speak Hebrew to start from there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of websites. There's Crypto Potato, Crypto Jungle. There's Bitcoin.org, which is one that I would recommend for English-speaking people. But
Amazing. Okay. So I understand that Tel Aviv is number 5 in the world for using Bitcoin and crypto. But when I go to the supermarket, they refuse to accept it. I don't know why, but do you know where I can spend my money, my crypto money?
there is a list also. There is a Facebook group called Bitcoin Israeli Community, right? And there you have a post that says all the places that you can use Bitcoin and businesses that accept Bitcoins. There's also a Facebook group for just businesses that accept Bitcoin. So if you just look it up, then it's there and you can find out. Me personally,
Do you accept Bitcoin?
like sometimes if I sublet my apartment, then I can say it's okay if you want to pay in Bitcoin.
How many of them do?
Nobody. Or whenever I pay for something, or donations even, then I ask if I can do it with crypto. So
Every time I see a homeless person on the street, and like I don't carry cash. You know why? I'm trying, but you know what? I actually read that there is an application, I think in the UK, where homeless people print out a QR code, and then you download an app. You actually transfer crypto money, and then I don't know if exactly it's on blockchain or not, but you go to supermarkets that are.
what can you do with it? And
Now he's a crypto millionaire.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Actually, I read the stats, as I said, that 25% of the wealthy millennials in the US, I don't know what that exactly means, but they hold crypto, and another 30 of them want to hold crypto. I'm wondering what it's like in Israel. Like, I don't know if we can put a percentage on that.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to measure because unlike bank accounts, Bitcoin addresses are not related to a specific person. One person can have many addresses, and a lot of people can buy, Bitcoin, put it all in just one address. So it's just by survey that you know this statistics. But I can tell you that my nieces and nephew, they talk about it in their school. I mean, kids that are 10, 11 years old, they know what it is. They are fascinated by it.
Because their bar mitzvah is coming up.
Yeah, and I did this lecture, and my cousin and his friend came, and I think they were the most interested people in this presentation, and they kept asking me questions, and I know that in their class, everybody wanted to open a Bitcoin wallet. So I think maybe not millennials, but younger kids, they will be the bearer of news, when they grow up, because they can hold money in their phone, and they don't need to wait until they're 16 or 17 to open a bank account. So that's why they like it.
Nice. So it used to be that when Instagram came out, a lot of people went and registered the name of their kid who was like 1 year old back then. Now, I've got to go open my kid a wallet, and then if they're good, I might put 0.1 Bitcoin in there or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice. Actually, that's very good. That could be your new career, like crypto education at schools.
I wish. I mean, there is a program now that they try to teach financial education in grade school, but then there was a big mess about it because who did they ask to do it? The banks. So there was all the parents said, "What are you talking about? We don't want the banks coming." And the curriculum was how do you open a bank account and
Oh my God.
in which bank, and so that's obviously not financial education. So I hope maybe.
Where do you put your money? A, in a pillow, under a mattress.
It's horrible. It's
Which,
horrible.
yeah, which mortgage insurance do you take out at the bank? I
But
mean,
in this way
it's really true.
you can see the power of banks have over everything. Also the government, that they made them even, convince them that they will be the one to teaching classes, and so it's ridiculous, really.
Yeah, we have to take care of that. All right, so tell us about Bitcoin or any other coin. Like, which coin do you see being dominant in the future?
Obviously Bitcoin. I think Ethereum will always be Bitcoin's biggest threat, I would say, but not really because they can coexist together, so they can be pals, and all the dApps and all the things that are related to Ethereum will prosper, I think, also in the future. I also like Litecoin because it's simple and it's easy and it's sort of like Bitcoin, just lighter. So it's
Yeah,
like
but it's an alternative. I mean, it's built off of the Bitcoin
right. It's actually
infrastructure.
very similar. The code is really similar, but it's supposed to be faster transfer and with lower fees.
Why?
So
Why do they manage to do that?
because instead of the block being created every average 10 minutes in Litecoin, it's an average every what? 1 minute? 2.5 minutes. Right, and also because, well, there's a whole thing with the mining, it's different mining code there, so, but if it's all the people are trying to transfer Bitcoin at once and the fees are high, then maybe you can use Litecoin as an alternative and then you can change to Bitcoin later on.
Okay, so right now we're in a situation where very few people hold crypto. Even in the crypto meetup, we have about 20% or less. What do you see as the biggest challenge to mainstream adoption? What should happen for that?
Yeah, first of all, to spread the word out and to, I think now it's a situation where like official and companies and governments are saying cryptocurrency no, but blockchain yes, and I don't like that saying because it's wrong. It's just wrong because it's threatening everything the old-fashioned world was created upon. But I think just reading about it, going to lectures, getting inside the communities and asking questions, and also if you already know what it is, then what I do, if I go to a taxi or I go into a store, I ask them, do you know about Bitcoin? Do you accept Bitcoin? Or stuff like that, just so even they said no, so I explain about it, and if they said yes, so I say, oh, good for you, and just so just to get the word spread, there's a story about DoorDash jeans. I don't know if you know, but like an Israeli that came to the United States, and he opened a store for jeans, and nobody heard about it. So he just went to all the stores. He paid like small amounts of money to a lot of people, and they all went to all the stores, the fashion stores in New York, and they said, "Do you sell Jordache jeans? Do you sell Jordache jeans?" And everybody said, "What? We don't know what it is. What's Jordache jeans?" And that's how they spread the word out. And eventually, the stores bought gorgeous jeans because they thought people want to buy it.
That's amazing. Is that so? That's an Israeli brand.
It's an Israeli person.
Israeli person.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Israeli minds.
Yeah. I think I might have owned a pair. Georgia Basic. Okay, that's a cool story. So, okay, so we need to kind of maybe fake it until we make it?
I think so. I think the children are our future, you know, just like maybe
Go home, tell your children about
Yeah.
Bitcoin tonight.
just not even telling them anything about it, just say read about it and they'll do the work themselves because they're curious enough and they'll do it. They Google, you know, Bitcoin and
Because they like money.
because they like money, and even in Israel, you know, they can find websites in Hebrew and they can read about it, so it's so easy. And
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, tell me one more thing. I mean, we don't have your presentation here, but maybe on top of your head, who are some big names in crypto that we should look up to, look up on the internet, learn from?
I think it's there's so many. It's so hard, like, to sum it up to just a few. But I believe that behind every great coin there is a great story. So, and the story is always related to people. So I think it goes together. The names of the coins go together with the names of the people that started it or the programmers that are working on it. So if I'm talking about Ethereum, you have Vitalik Buterin, who started Ethereum. He's very nice and
He's like
very
22
young.
now or something.
Yeah,
Still looks 15, but...
yeah, he's yeah, he likes to wear unicorn shirts. And you have Joe Lubin, who also the founder of Consensus, and they have a lot of money to invest in startups that are related to Ethereum.
He was one of the investors in Ethereum, actually.
Yes, exactly. And if you Litecoin, there's Charlie Lee and his brother, and you have Monero, another coin that I like because it solves the problem of anonymity. So you
What
have
is the problem of anonymity?
because people like to think that Bitcoin is like behind closed doors and it scares them, but the opposite is true. It's very transparent because in Bitcoin, like I said, the blockchain is a book of records that everybody can look and see who sent Bitcoin, well, not who, but what Bitcoin address sent Bitcoin to what Bitcoin address and how many were sent and when did it happen. So everything is very transparent. So if people know your Bitcoin address, they can really follow you, see your whole track records, what you did, when you received the Bitcoin. And so Monero solves that problem. And they have this thing that, I don't remember how they call it, the ring or something. I don't know, but then they mix a lot of transfer together, and so you don't know which one sent to who.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So they kind of hash it or they encrypt it in a way that you don't necessarily give out the private information.
Yes, you give nothing away, not how many were sent, not to who. And
Interesting. That's a very good point that actually blockchain is a public blockchain is a ledger on which you see all of the transactions. So when you do tell your kids about Bitcoin, tell your kids to be responsible with their Bitcoin and pay taxes and make sure they don't buy drugs or support terrorist activities because because then you're owning cash. Because then they're going to get a knock on their door and it will be either from the regulator or the FBI. So that's that.
I think that's also something in the future that governments are trying to take cash out of the system. I think in the maximum 3 years there'll be almost no cash. That's my vision.
In which, like in our society?
In the entire world.
In the entire world.
They will take out cash completely because that way they can control the most of the information. They can track everything, your credit cards, and it will help for their marketing and for everything. And from January 1st, 2019, in Israel, there is a law that is going into play that will reduce the amount of cash in Israel. So they're reducing it year by year, and I think eventually it will just fade, and then people will have no way to buy drugs other than maybe
Other than
cryptocurrency.
cryptocurrencies. Actually, that's a one big application right now for crypto is buying or selling even legal marijuana in the U.S. So that's kind of, or basically your door-to-door Girl Scout cookie type of sale that you're supporting. So you brought up an interesting point, which I'm trying to remember right now.
But Mati?
Yeah, no, Israel. The crypto shekel. Have you heard about that?
I have not.
Oh, okay. So crypto shekel is a government initiative. We're trying to actually have our own digital money. And I'm not sure if it's going to be a stable coin, which is a type of cryptocurrency that has a mechanism that stabilizes it and ties it to certain assets, or if it's not, because there's not much information on it. But the interesting discussion that maybe we'll have next time is whether that's a real cryptocurrency, because it's obviously not decentralized. It's obviously controlled by the government. It's just kind of based upon this infrastructure of transparency and accountability of blockchain. But there's actually another place in Israel where they're using blockchain now, and that's the tax authority. They're actually allowing people to pay upon their blockchain system as well. So we're kind of implementing it little by little in the government. So I do agree that we're probably going to have, I hope we're going to have cashless society. I refuse to use cash in most situations in life. Today I didn't have cash for the bus, and my apps didn't work, so I just took a bike. I mean, you can just go and scan an application and get a bicycle. That's it, no cash. So
I just don't like that whenever I pay any time or anything, then the entire information is recorded
Yeah.
on the banks,
on the bank, you mean whenever you pay with a credit card?
Yeah, or now I know that a lot of, Rafkaf tickets for public transportation, so not in Israel, but in other countries, they also connect it to your bank account. So they can know even where you are, so it's not, it's not for stalking you, or it's for making you pay, for marketing you the best offers for them to earn the biggest amount of money.
And they're not paying you for that.
Exactly, and you pay them for the bank accounts. So that's ridiculous, really.
Yeah. So that's interesting because in blockchain you now have ecosystems where you're actually being paid for selling your data, right?
That I really believe it. I really believe that especially the medical records should belong to us, and that people should pay. The companies should pay us in exchange for revealing something of our medical record, or something like that, if we want to.
Wow, yeah, those are really, really interesting points. Okay, so what is your message to the world in conclusion of this exciting session?
I think the biggest word here is money. I mean, more than Bitcoin, more than everything. Bitcoin is like maybe the best solution in my opinion right now, but it's a solution to a problem, and that problem is money and how it's created, and when it was created, and why it's been like this for many, many years. And I think people should just read about the monetary system, who prints money, who are the banks, who stands behind them, there's a movie I like that's called The Wizard of Oz, or something like that. No, not The Wizard of Oz, but No. It's a guy that he's like he really knows everything about this world, and he did a lot of research in the history of money, and he just explains how it works, the whole and how it came to be, the whole monetary system that we're in now, and why it hasn't changed for decades. So just read about that and just see if you agree or not. And then if you're not, then you can consider cryptocurrency as an alternative.
Awesome. Thank you so much.